In today's video, I'm going to ask a very simple question. Could you work with the Irish rugby team? Now, I'm going to give you a timeline and break down the amount of years it's going to take to make this a possibility. Number one is your degree. So your undergraduate degree will be 3 or 4 years of your life. Ideally, that will be in Ireland. For example, UCD, which is the closest university to the Irish headquarters. If you're watching this and you're already doing a degree in a different country, don't worry, it's totally fine. Wherever you are, you just got to get the basics right though. So when it comes to your grade, you want a 2-1 or above. So a 2-1 is 60% to 69%. A first class honours or a 1-1 is 70% and above. Now don't become obsessed with getting your 1-1. I got a 2-1, if you got a 2-1 as well, it's happy days. You'll need work experience, which I'll come back to in a second, but in your final year of your degree, I'd also recommend you do a dissertation study which is related to rugby. You need to fill your CV with as much rugby related information as possible. That will make you a stronger candidate in the future. So going back to work experience then, I would advise you to get experience with amateur teams. Don't feel that's beneath you or nowhere near the Irish team. You have to start somewhere, and that's going to be your level during your degree. So don't just get 1 season experience, try and get 2, 3 years if you can. Try and shadow or get some form of placement with a professional team as well. That can just be a couple of weeks, a month, a couple of months, whatever it is. Don't feel the need to do a really long internship, but if you can get something at a professional team during your undergrad, that would be really, really good. Now, ideally, that would be in Ireland. So you've got the 4 province teams here, as you can see. If you can get in with any of those, that's really, really good. But any decent level team around the world will look really good on your CV. Now, when it comes to networking and trying to get yourself those placements, if you're not quite sure what to say in your LinkedIn messages or your emails, take a look at this video here. I'm going to put the link below. Have a look and it will guide you going forwards. Step 2. Well, step 2 could be a master's. You can go straight from your undergrad to your master's. I personally would recommend doing a full-time internship for a whole year, doing 40, 50 hours, no other distractions, just working rugby every single day. And Ireland would be great if you can get an internship with one of the province teams, great, but again, it can be anywhere. There's Premiership Rugby, there's New Zealand, Australia, wherever you're based, just try and get a year in domestic rugby, learning the trade. Now, finding internships is hard, it's time consuming, there's a lot of knockbacks, rejection. On the left hand side, I explain in this video basically what I did to get an internship. My internship when I graduated was a year with Leicester Tigers, so I went down the route of doing 12 months straight rugby. In that video on the right hand side, I recommend you take a look. I'll speak about my daily activities and the pros and cons of working at that fantastic club. Okay, so you've done your year's internship, and the next step really should be the Masters and accreditation as well. So the Masters will be a year full-time or 2 years part-time. Once again, as I keep saying, Ireland is an advantage. So if you can find a Masters in Ireland, particularly in Dublin, that would be the ideal situation. What you want to do is continue some of the habits from before. So network, get some placements during your Masters. You're a much stronger candidate now, so placements hopefully will be a little bit easier to find. You'll need accreditation, and most people do it during their master's year or slightly afterwards. So for example, you can see in brackets there UKSCA, that's the strength and conditioning qualification you can get. Whatever your area is, take a look on Google, see what qualifications you need. And finally, just like your undergrad, I strongly recommend you do another study which is related to rugby. And it's even better if you do it with a local rugby team. So for example, if you're at UCD, if you could do your study with Leinster Rugby, that would look unreal on your CV. Next step is club rugby. Now, this is going away from the dream of international, but it's a step in the journey. It's very rare to finish your Masters and then suddenly with an international team. So you will have to work at club rugby level, which I made that sound bad for a second. It's still really good, of course. It's amazing. And as I keep saying in every step, Ireland is an advantage. If you work for one of the provinces, it's much easier to get to know people who work for the national team. And day to day, you're going to be working with players who play for the national team. But wherever you work, Ireland or elsewhere, you need to build a reputation. So you can't just be that Joe Average S&C coach, Joe Average physiotherapist. You need to go out of your way, work incredibly hard and be innovative and find ways to improve the sports science department in that team to have any chance of taking that step up to international level. I'd also recommend using social media as well for networking reasons and just getting your profile out there. So if people are going through social media and they can see what a great job you're doing at club level, it's those fine margins again, it's a small percentage. The employers for the Irish team may see this and see you as a strong candidate. Okay, so the dream hopefully will arrive. You'll go and work for the Irish team, and this will take time. This could be 10 years. If you rack up all the years I've put together so far, if you're 18, 19 watching this, you could be 30 by the time you work for the Irish team. Don't see that as a bad thing. Hopefully those 10 years will be enjoyable because you're doing lots of experiences that you want to do. But it won't be easy. There'll be downsides such as student debt. There's free labour, so throughout your undergrad it's unlikely you'll earn money. That internship could be unpaid or a very low salary. And finally in this section there's huge sacrifices as well. So even if you're Irish, it's a sacrifice. You might be moving 20 miles up the road, but it's still a sacrifice. You're still leaving people behind. You're going to work long hours, and you've got people from different countries as well. So if you're Australian, you get a job with Ireland. That's a huge move. So there's lots of things to think about when you think about this job. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off with a quick quotation here. And I think my students who I've taught in the past are probably fed up with me saying this, but it's not what you know, it's who you know and who they know. So you could be unreal with your CV. You could have so much knowledge, but if you're not using your personality to network and get to know the right people, it might not happen for you. So if you're watching this now, you're an undergrad, a master's level, whoever you are, you need to find out now who's working with the Irish team, start networking with them, get to know them, try and arrange a Zoom call if you can, and that will really help you going forwards. Okay, thanks for watching this video. I've got some other videos on my channel where I speak about working in other areas of elite sport, such as Manchester United and the UFC. If you have any suggestions for future videos, get in touch on Instagram at Sports Science Hacks. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again soon.